Okay. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today and joining us. In this free workshop, we are tackling the idea of how to get back into a classroom or the office with some ways to engage your team using gamification as a content delivery tool and a fun and purposeful way to reconnect. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, feel free to join that chat at any point to stay in the process here and be an active participant. We welcome your questions, your feedback, etc. So we will go ahead and get started here. Hopefully, at the end of today's webinar, you'll have maybe a couple more ideas, at least, for how to get back in the game at the office or classroom. This really shouldn't take more than 30 minutes, so we're going to keep it short and sweet. If you do have to jump off early, no worries. Just visit our website for more information. This session is being recorded, so we do have an archive request on our website as well, if you need to access that. For the purpose of timing in everything today, I'm going to kind of burn through the presentation and then be trying to answer as many questions as I can at the end here. But right now, I'd love to start a discussion. How engaged would you say your team is with your training or communications? What have your challenges been so far? So again, feel free to go into that chat. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to see a lot of that at the moment, but again, I will circle back and look at that. If you have any questions on specific software and services, I will again answer that at the end as well. And just a little background on us as a company, we have over 35 years of involvement in training and or teaching. So we kind of we do get the challenges. If you have any that you're facing currently, we're kind of in the trenches with you. So that being said, don't be shy. Just feel free to keep that dialogue going if you would. So terms to know. Here are some terms, since this may not be self-evident for everyone. Maybe you're just kind of dipping your toes into gamification. If you are, great, so glad you're here. Or, maybe you're some of our current clients who are like, God, I've heard this so many times. But either way, in the context of serious learning, we are talking about using gamification as an engagement tool, one of many, right, for your training or teaching. And there are different ways for how you can use them, of course. So in a classroom, in a webinar like today, maybe in self-paced learning, mini modules, using it as microlearning in your own LMS or learning management system. So whether you're starting just to return to in-person learning, or maybe still doing all virtual and remote training, there are options available here for both. And one of the reasons we wanted to start these workshops is because we recognize the challenges inherent in working and training remotely. And transitioning back to an office environment may present new challenges that will need to be addressed, but also a really great opportunity to pause and realign so your core values match your desired outcomes, kind of a reset to what's the most important to you and your team. So in fact, maybe you could use this time to use some of these tools to include your team for their input in a quick survey that asks them what they want to see, what makes them feel comfortable in the workplace or classroom, how they want to manage their time, how many meetings are held each week, what's the sweet spot of hours in the office versus at home, etc. So starting these conversations may feel awkward, but they're crucial to the success of returning to in-person environments. And we can do that with a game to make it feel less intense and maybe even have some fun while doing it. And so by now, you've probably become much more familiar with self-paced learning or mobile learning or e-learning over the last year with the quick shift to virtual learning. Maybe you've found that the return on your long hours putting 60 slide PowerPoint decks together leaves a lot to be desired, and the juice isn't worth that squeeze, so they say. So I'm going to encourage you to think outside the box with how to use these tools beyond lectures, tests, and assessments, whether it's our products or not. So here are a few ideas inspired by our current clients and some of the things that they've come up with, which I think are brilliant. So send out material or homework to your new hires before an onboarding session with a self-paced quiz or game. And then be sure to acknowledge your highest scorers, of course, during your session when you're in person, like our friends do at Kansas City Southern Railroad. Use these quizzes to scan your potential new hires with some screening questions to determine if they have the experience. Are they qualified? Is it a culture fit for your organization, like our friends do at H.H. Hunt? Or maybe you send out a weekly or monthly questionnaire or a newsletter. Keep your team connected even though everyone's still spread out and remote. You have some fun-filled trivia, like a Friday trivia roundup style. And of course, these tools are still perfect for mini modules of learning and micro-learning check-ins, but I also wanted to explore other ways to use it that maybe, are not so obvious. So that being said, as proclaimed, we're going to dive into a self-paced quiz that we offer called Spark, so you can see just what we're talking about. I'm going to pause for just a second to see how everyone's doing here. Anybody in the chat yet? Not quite? Okay, no worries at all. We're going to play this game. So this is a self-paced game. This is a single player self-paced game you can send out via a link in an email. Or you can upload this to your own LMS system where it can just kind of live in perpetuity and you add it to your existing modules. So for timing today, we're just going to kind of burn through this. I'm not even going to answer the questions correctly. We're just going to see what it looks like so you get an idea. So in this particular template, you add in all of our templates for that matter. You are adding your content to our framework. This is a slide, one of many that you can add with just content. Maybe you're just introducing a concept like we're doing here. You can ask open-ended questions, poll your audience, see where everyone is. In addition to a knowledge check or assessment, you are also soliciting some feedback. And then you can also offer some feedback that is fully customizable. So right here, where it says, we hope to help you find some solutions, etc., you get to decide what that says. If it says anything at all, maybe you leave it out. So here's another slide. We're defining what microlearning is here real quick. I'm adding images, I'm adding media, visuals. And down here, if I wanted to, in a self-paced learning, which is great, you can add, an action step. Click here to learn more. Here's your URL to send them to, another module, perhaps, or a YouTube video, whatever it might be. And then our partners at Bob Pike, I really like how they say this. They're an accessible definition of what microlearning is. Just breaking things down into smaller, absorbable, consumable ways to learn and then repeating that information. This question is a multiple choice question and it also has this timer going. So you can add a timer really at any point if you wanted to just, really increase that competitiveness or pressure or whatever you want to do, that is there for you. And we're just going to keep going. And yep, spoiler alert, it's all of the above. When we use this as a learning tool, we can easily deliver reviews, assessments, or knowledge boosters. So we're just continuing to add our own content here, basically. This, by the way, quiz was developed from a microlearning webinar that I did a while back. And that is accessible on our website as well, if you want the archive. And I'm realizing I probably should have left justified this. Anyway, here's a bullet point list. If you want to add that, multiple choice questions, once again, and spoiler alert, all of the above. Okay, so we can add some GIFs or GIFs. Gosh, I still don't know how to say that. Memes, videos. You can add your own images, of course, lots of media options to help this be engaging both visually and audio version. And then here's one of the great things that I love about Spark and self-paced learning. You have the option to engage your visual learners, like I was just saying, with these image markers. So you create a hotspot on an image, and it's their job to click on the image for the correct answer. So in this example, what are the devices that we can use to interact with learning, which of course is both our phone and our computer. So if I click here, that's the little hotspot that I created on that image to create that correct answer. So you can imagine with situational learning, for instance, even safety training, click on the image that shows the appropriate safety step, in whatever context that you're using that. So that's a fun feature that's available as well on this that kind of helps extend beyond here's questions and answers, right? Another slide, e-learning is good for the planet. Mobile learning improves efficiency. Some stats there for you. And then again, one of your polling options. Ask an open-ended question. How confident do you feel? How do you feel this session went? What do you guys want for lunch? Whatever it is. You have some options there. And then following that up with reinforcement, if you said, not that great, I don't feel that confident. Okay, well, here's some more information. Here's why this is important, etc. And then, last but not least, if you're a psych nerd like myself, you might already know that one of the coveted outcomes is consolidation of knowledge, right? Transferring that short-term memory to long-term memory. How do we do that? Well, we need to repeat information. We need to make it in manageable chunks. We need to make it engaging. And we need to reinforce it. So, tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. That's one of the best things about games. They are an active participant, participant-centered learning, if you will. So you're really boosting retention and you're consolidating knowledge and people are having fun. Okay, so that's the end of that one. This is, a summary screen at the end that you get to customize, fully customizable once again. If you want to have a leaderboard accessible, you have that. If you want more information here, you have that. So that's an example of, one of our templates for self-paced learning or mobile learning, or great for e-learning, obviously, sending this out for people to participate on their own time. Okay, let's move on. We are all probably pretty acquainted with live gaming sessions, classroom style learning, right? Remember way back when we could get together in a classroom face-to-face and all of those fun things? Okay, so using live gaming sessions in training, whether it's using some of the free options out there, struggling through the PowerPoint spaghetti, whatever it is, when you're using these effectively, it's a great tool, I think, to have in your arsenal. And I'm guessing that most of your live training sessions at least, up until this point, have been maybe via webinar, on Zoom, on Teams like today, instead of an actual classroom. But, that may be on the horizon. And either way, as instructors, we've all experienced that moment of dread when all you hear is cyberspace crickets and have no idea if people are still with you. So these tools are kind of ideal for breaking up lectures or presentations and reviewing the section you just went over, because you're seeing, in real time what they know, what they don't know. So you're repeating that information and giving them the opportunity to apply it and then transfer that knowledge from short-term to long-term memory. Or maybe you're just using this as a pre-assessment to do knowledge checks so you know exactly where you need to focus your attention during your session. And we also have some clients that use this for a progressive gaming format where they use a live game for each day of a 3-day conference, for instance, offer a progressively larger prize or reward, or even like a tournament bracket, which would require a lot more work, but would probably be fun. So again, there are a lot of options, and it goes beyond, using this as a review and assessment tool, which it's obviously designed and perfect for, or, trivia game. There's also team building, and I will get to that in just a minute. But for now, I will play a live game with you. So this is kind of an example of how we can use this. It's thinking here for just a second. Okay, great. How we can use this as a presentation tool and not just, a review tool, if you will. And if you're using it that way, great. I'm not trying to knock that, just trying to give you some more ideas. So here's a screen that you see. If you're a current user, you're very familiar with this. If you're not, this is something that, comes up for you, gives you some last minute adjustments if you want to make them. So we have devices. Everyone's going to use, and by everyone, I mean you. I'm going to invite you into this game. We're going to use our devices, our smartphones, our tablets, our computers to get into the game. You can have teams or you can have all play. Teams, pretty self-explanatory. You can determine how many teams you want and people join them, or you have it assigned automatically, or you have all play mode, excuse me, which is everyone competing individually. And when it's a live game like this, we will have a leaderboard going on the left-hand side. And we're going to use some avatars to make it fun, which are also customizable, but you have a library of a selection there that we have as well. Okay. Maybe you can hear this, maybe you can't. I have some music playing. I'm going to mute that for now. Okay, so this is a spin-off. This is our version of kind of that Hollywood style game show of spin the wheel, right? So there's going to be 2 options to get into our spin-off game, which is 2020 leftist spinning trivia information. So here's our QR code. So 2 options, like I said, we can pick up our smartphone, open up the camera app. You don't have to do anything other than just point it at that QR code, and it should ask you to open C3 SoftWorks, in which case it will also ask you to put in your name. And if you feel like, having a moniker or a funny handle, feel free. I am asking that you all get into the game here. The other option is typing in your into your browser the link right on the bottom here, and then when it asks for a presenter code, it's the 0016. Okay, winner, love it. Yeah, I'm gonna give a minute for everyone to have a chance to get into the game. I know you're all super excited to see who's going to win and what the trivia questions are. No. Whoever is participating as no, I love it. So yeah, please feel free to come in, join the game. We'll start this in just a minute or so. And then once we do start the session, that QR code goes away. It goes away forever. But you can join at any point using this link on the bottom of the screen, which you can't, of course, click on, but you can put that into a browser. Okay, you guys get it. We'll give you a second, excuse me, to get into the game, and then we'll see what we remember from 2020. Okay, great. I have some people in, so for the sake of time, we're just going to keep going. It's going to introduce our topics of what we're going to be learning about today. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, you notice this leaderboard going, right? So individually playing in all play mode, we will have the top 10 scoring individuals here at any given moment. You could have 30 people into your game, of course. It's just going to show your top 10, which is fine. But in case, that ever became a question, that's there. In this game also, you have some fun features with how you want to do this. You can randomize the wheel, or you can have it go categorically, however you want. There is audio included, but again, for today, I'm just kind of muting everything. All right, so and then as the facilitator, I am watching my little blue bar over here as it's increasing. So when that gets to 100%, I know that everyone has had a chance to answer the question. And if and you want to give a little bit of time, of course, if you're on your smartphone, you're just going to, select your answer, basically, and then hit submit. And you should be good to go. If you need to change your answer, you can do so. And as a facilitator, if you need to redo the question, that's available to you right down here on the left-hand side. And that resets that for everyone. Okay, we might have a couple people still needing to answer, and that's okay. And as an instructor, I'm getting some information here right away, right? So we might have a knowledge gap here. It seems like there's some guessing going on. Cool. We're going to continue. And it is Instagram. So well done. A lot of you thought that was the case. And then here's our leaderboard. Cool. So we'll keep going. There's a couple of questions per category, so don't worry, this won't take forever. Time soup. On what date did the World Health Organization declare the coronavirus a pandemic in 2020? Man, that feels forever ago already, doesn't it? Okay, so watching my leaderboard, and you might notice there is a little timer going here on the question. So that is an option as well. You can add a timer to all the questions if you like. Here's our feedback. Okay, timer went out. So 60% of us think it was March 11th. Let's see what's correct. All right, very nice. Good job, group. That does feel like forever, though, already, doesn't it? 3/11/2020. All right, let's keep going. This game is great because it's multi-category, so you can add a lot of content into this game, as well as our Jeopardy style template, which is Quiz Show. Lots of categories available to you, lots of previews and summaries to each question, which kind of provides that content sandwich. You heard a compliment sandwich? Well, this is a content sandwich. You can preview your concept, introduce it, ask your question, and then summarize and reinforce why that's correct, right? So it's kind of great for that. All right, let's see where we're at. It is Parasite. Very nice. I have not seen that yet, but want to. And then once that category is exhausted with its questions, it grays out like that. So we're done with that one. Which country legend known for Island in the Stream and The Gambler died in March 2020? You guys are killing this, by the way. No is in the lead. All right, let's see where we're at. We're gonna go ahead of that timer. 80% of you think it's A. Now again, as an instructor, this is valuable feedback for you, right? So you get to see where some knowledge gaps might be happening, what you might want to revisit, what might need to be sent out as a review via a game, perhaps. Okay, timer is on. In what month was the first case of COVID-19 confirmed in the US last year? LJ is taking the lead. We have a no and a yes. Love it. All right, let's see where we're going. When it was, 50% of us think it was January. Okay, well done. It was an eternity ago. 1/20/2020. All right, we're doing well. We're getting through this. Let's see what other senseless trivia I can fill your brains with. Submit your wager now. So you have the option to create bonus questions, in which case that will always be a wagering question. And this kind of ups that competitiveness. You know, maybe someone's in the lead, they bet everything, they get it wrong. You add some drama and some flair if you want. So this is one of those. Go big or go home. All right, everybody's probably got their wager in. Here's your big question. Donald Trump became the third US president to be impeached in February 2020. Who are the two others? And your timer is on. Oh, there was the buzzer. Okay. So interesting, right? So as an instructor, again, I used to be an instructor. I get it. You kind of can see where some of the breakdown might be with information, knowledge, etc. It is in fact D. Good job, everybody. Johnson and Clinton were the other two. All right, we're cruising right along here. Which tennis player topped the 2020 Forbes magazine list of highest paid athletes? TJ taking the lead. You bet well, my friend. All right, let's see. That's a pretty good split. Knowledge gap, perhaps. It is Federer. Lots of money there. Okay, we're almost done. So this is a silly trivia game, of course. However, this could be a lot of your serious learning content. Or maybe it's just a fun Friday trivia roundup that you send out just to keep people engaged and on the same page. Maybe you're, summarizing what happened in your company that week or that month. Okay, let's see where we are. SpaceX, yes, definitely. Good job. And the dramatic ending, who will win? TJ, very nice. Well done, TJ. This, again, has some audio, clapping, fireworks, etc. And then you can clearly acknowledge your winner here. You also have some options right up in this settings bar. If you wanted to turn that timer off at any point, you could do that. If you wanted to quickly view who your top scoring users were, just to get everybody more engaged, you can do that. You can view all of your participants in case you are feeling those cyberspace crickets, or you can just end the session. And then one of the features I like a lot on these, which gives you a lot of information right away, is your most challenging questions for that particular game. You get this information right away up front. Maybe you look at this and say, okay, so only 33% of us got this question correct. Maybe I want to go revisit that information or remediate on some concepts, right? So you get it. You have it all right there. Well done, everybody. Thanks for joining that. We're going to go ahead and end that and get back into our little presentation here, nearing the end. Okay, so this is one of our clients that recently used Quiz Show, one of our templates. That's the Jeopardy style one, as a getting to know you icebreaker during a virtual onboarding session. She collected information from each person up front as clues and then filled the entire game board with their facts and their pictures and etc. So their task was to connect the dots about each other, but in a game format. She said it worked beautifully, like as a team building exercise, and couldn't believe how easy it was to put it together. She said the hardest part really was coming up with the phrases for the questions. And they had so much fun, and more importantly, actually learned about each other, even virtually and remotely. So I had to ask her if we could share it with all of you, because I think it's such a great way to use the tool beyond review and assessment, and definitely is, outside the box thinking for team building and creating those, those moments that matter, even if we're not together. And on that note, I do think sustainable engagement does require a whole set of tools to use. Games are just one of them, of course. And games and quizzes can be a game changer, sorry, pardon the pun, for that intrinsic motivation we all want our team to have. And the great thing about them is that they can be combined and included in your existing programs and really transform that training and learning to be, an engagement machine that creates more and more teachable moments. And many of our clients now, I think, have embraced self-paced learning, which is the topic of our next webinar, actually, and have figured out how to leverage that in addition to their live sessions for more, robust learning. Games can provide that non-threatening environment that allows participants to relax and enjoy themselves, but also absorb, more because they're active in their learning. I think one area that can be a challenge is that real-time feedback in a virtual environment, even in a live one somehow. And people want feedback, right? They want to know how they did, how they performed, what they got right, what they got wrong, etc. So our software allows us and you to identify those knowledge gaps, remediate in real time, and we have a reporting feature that functions, like a very base version of an LMS or a learning management system in the Bravo Zone. Or it can talk to your LMS, so you can, not only send out fun ways to teach and connect, but you also get some actionable feedback for, creating more teachable moments. Here's what we provide at See-Through SoftWorks. Our subscription service is an all-inclusive program of an annual license to our current and future game templates in our cloud service, which we call the Bravo Zone. So each game has its own delivery benefits and methods and very intuitive builders. And I say that, and of course I'm a little bit biased, but I do believe and feel that they're pretty simple step-by-step guides. If I have any current users on here and you want to shout that out, great, or not, which work for instructor-led or self-paced, or in some cases both scenarios. We also include training and support for as long as your account is active, basically. So with the time remaining here, I know we've gone a couple minutes over. Welcome any of your comments and questions. I'm going to put up my contact information as well, and I will be hopping on the chat if you have any questions. There's also, here's my direct information to contact us. We do have another webinar coming up in 2 days on the 14th, and that's specifically about microlearning and self-paced learning. If you're interested in learning more about that, more in like a dialed in way, do check that out. We do have another webinar next week and part of our workshop series about how to repurpose PowerPoints with John. So any and all of this information, again, available on our website as well. You can request archived webinars there if you like. And if you have any questions, I will hang out here on the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar. I hope it has given you some fresh ideas for your training. Moving forward, always constantly navigating our new normals, always having to adapt, so we get it. If you'd like some more information, I'd love to schedule some time with you for a quick consultation so we can see if it's the right fit for you, if you're still considering, what all of this is about. My contact information is shown, as well as our general info contact. So feel free to reach out. All of this available on our website, as I mentioned, and we do look forward to helping you find some, hopefully unique ways to engage and energize your team or yourself, whatever it may be. So at this point, I will say thank you everyone for joining. I hope it gave you some quick ideas, and we hope to talk to you soon.